Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the South Carolina Farm Bureau, online at scfb.org, and by the Columbia Metropolitan Airport, online at columbiaairport.com, and by Time Warner Cable, online at timewarnercable.com.
And welcome back to This Week at the State House as the session of the General Assembly continues on. The House took up the Boeing incentive bill, as some call that piece of legislation. Over in the Senate, they're debating the question of concealed weapons and whether or not a person could take that into a restaurant where alcohol is served. But today we have a real exciting program, and as this General Assembly moves in this session. But first, a few housekeeping things. We want to thank our sponsors who make this broadcast possible: Time Warner Cable, the Columbia Metropolitan Airport, and the Farm Bureau of South Carolina. ETV for the production of this broadcast, and the South Carolina Press Association for their assistance in putting this broadcast on. And I'd be remiss if I did not again welcome our friends at 518 of the Blott Building, Zachary and Associates, Representative Merrill, and all of the fans over there who tend to like some of the issues, how we get into them here on this broadcast. So with that, we're going to talk today about an issue, two sides to it, controversy or debate if you call it. Why is there debate? Why is there a question? Economic incentives by the General Assembly. Are they a good thing? Are they a bad thing? Do they need changing? What is it about that issue that would cause debate in the halls of the State House here? Have two people here who can give us some insight into that question. And with us today is Senator Paul Campbell, Berkeley County.
That's right.
Senator, we're delighted to have you with us. And we've got Representative Ralph Norman, who comes to us, I believe York. Is your district totally in York County, isn't it?
Yeah, and my district actually is between a little bit in Charleston, a little bit in Dorchester and Berkeley, so I represent three counties.
All right. Gentlemen, one of the reasons I asked these gentlemen, one voted for, one voted against the Boeing economic package. So first of all, let's start out so that the viewers understand economic incentives. Senator, I'll start with you. What are economic incentives?
Economic incentives are what we use. I look at them as an investment because basically we get a return on our economic incentives. Economic incentives are given to companies to give them an option when we're competing with other sites where a potential industry or business could go to attract them to South Carolina. And I always look at economic incentives as an investment because I'll try to measure the return we're going to get on those economic incentives. If you bring a company like a Boeing or like a BMW into South Carolina, you're also bringing potential suppliers in. And most of the literature will tell you that for every job that a Boeing or a BMW or somebody like that creates, there's 4 to 8 in the community. So not only are you helping the large businesses, you're also doing economic incentives that help the small businesses. And we want to see small businesses grow at the same time.
All right, so the public will further understand, when you use the word incentive, is incentive cash or is it some kind of credit? Is it some... Tell me what an economic incentive can be.
An economic incentive can be anything from what the local governments do, which is a fee in lieu for taxes, property taxes paid.
Now, fee in lieu means that what? They pay a fee instead of paying property taxes?
Instead of paying property taxes. Typically, a large industry pays 10.5% in South Carolina. And so because you don't have that revenue stream, and it's a brand new revenue stream coming into a county, they may give them a break on that and give them less than 10.5%. It may be down as low as what a primary residence, which is 4%. But what the county looks at is this brand new revenue, that if I don't do this incentive, I'm not going to get this job, I'm not going to get this money. So it's found money to them, and so they can give them an economic incentive on property tax. You can also do things like job development credits, which is an economic incentive that's available for all businesses in South Carolina. You can do bonds, which help them with infrastructure, taking down land, some of those type of things. And typically when a bond is done, the property, if South Carolina bond is used, the title to that property stays in the state's name until the bond is retired. And then the land can either be given to the industry or business, it can be sold to the industry or business, or it can be somehow transferred between those at that point. But it stays the title stays in South Carolina until the bond is retired. So it can be a lot of things. Economic incentive can be the state tech system with what we can do on job training. Because we have one of the best state tech, if not the best state tech system in the United States on job training and skills development. And so we look at all those things, you group them together, and how do we compare with Georgia, with North Carolina, with Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Virginia? How do we compare with international, with Ireland, or with Europe? How do we compare with India, China, some of those type of things? You got to be competitive. If you're not competitive, a lot of your folks that are shopping for sites, that are shopping for places, won't even consider you without the incentive. So you got to have a little bit of something to attract the interest.
Representative Norman, do you agree with what he says is economic incentive, and what do you think economic incentives are?
Yeah, what Senator Campbell is exactly right. And let me preface, I'm a developer. We develop real estate. There's nobody that believes anymore that the lifeblood of this state is new economic development. I think there's a difference today than there was 25 years ago. When Carol Campbell and BMW came, that's a good thing for the state. Boeing is a great thing for the state. We're in a competitive situation. South Carolina is a jewel of a state to locate. We're right to work. We've got all the natural resources, water, sewer, and it is a competitive environment for getting the Boeings. We're just in a great position to do that. And it's different from retail development. It's different from any other type of development because a Boeing can go anywhere in the world, really, and we're fortunate to have them here. I think there are limits to what you can do. I believe in home rule. I think the fee in lieu is a great thing. I think some of the local incentives, putting in infrastructure, water, sewer, doing things on the local level to attract it. And on a state level, I think you've got to temper what we give, because a Boeing doesn't need any guardian. They're in to make a profit. They know what they're doing, and they play them back and forth. And so I think it's a measured incentive, because we're looking after the coffers of the state taxpayer. We're looking after the people who put the money here in the first place. There's a limit to our bonded indebtedness that we can go here in South Carolina. And so I guess my issue is, yes, we want to get the companies here. Yes, we want to get the manufacturers, particularly because it leads to so many other spin-offs that are good for this state. But it's got to be measured, and it's got to be done in a way that is good for both sides, because the $120 million we're doing for Boeing, you can't walk away from. I think it's going to be a $30 million bond, or maybe a $40 million bond, with the payments coming due every month.
Yeah, and basically, economic incentives also are not just one-sided, they're two-sided. Because the companies agree to do certain things for the state of South Carolina when you give them an economic incentive. When Boeing came here 4 or 5 years ago, they agreed to certain criteria that they would meet, employment, those type of things. Everything that they agreed that they would do for the state of South Carolina by the end of 2016, they had completed by the end of 2012. They were 4 years ahead of schedule, what we call clawbacks. If we're going to give you an incentive if you do this for us, if you don't do that, we're going to come back and get the money back. Well, Boeing did everything that they agreed to do 4 years early. And I think BMW probably did much the same thing. So it's a two-way street on incentives. You give them an incentive to attract them, but you ask them to do something for the state at the same time. So it's a two-way street on these type of things.
Well, you spoke of limitations too. What are your concern with limitations in economic incentives? Could you help the viewers understand some of what you're concerned about?
Sure. As an example with Boeing, I think that the process now should be vetted. In other words, the devil is in the details. And I think, you bring in experts that know how to deal with a Boeing, from the land purchases to the infrastructure costs that the $120 million covers. My whole issue, and the reason for voting against it, is it was very fast, very few of the details were known about where it was being spent. Boeing is already here. And I'm like Senator Campbell, I want to meet all of our obligations, but I want to make a good deal for the citizens of South Carolina. There's no business in this state that wouldn't like a check for $120 million. But I think the vetting and the deal making should be done now. We negotiate, and like all of us do in the business world, it's a competitive environment. Again, Boeing is going to represent their interests. Boeing is out to make a profit, which we won't. But my whole issue with the speed of the way this went was very few people knew the details, and very few people knew where it was going. And I don't know what Boeing asked. I wasn't part of the negotiations that asked, what did Boeing ask for initially? What did we negotiate down to? And so the process, I guess, is where I'm the concern I had, and it's the reason I voted for it. And I didn't understand the speed. Why do we have to do it just right now? What's so pressing that it shouldn't be vetted? And I'll give you a perfect example that I know y'all were aware of. There was a shopping center developer down in Hilton Head. Big developer came in, asked for incentives. Well, I just happened to do a little bit of that. A Tanger Outlets does not locate because of incentives. A Harris Teeter doesn't locate in a particular location because of incentives. So I consider that giving away the taxpayers' money. That's the kind of trade-off that I think we as legislators can do, and I think the more questions, the better. And
I agree with you, Ralph. We should ask questions. And you know what Boeing agreed to is they're going to invest $1.1 billion, and they're going to hire at least 2,000 employees. And so I did just a quick back-of-the-envelope calculation as to what does that mean to South Carolina. It's a $120 million bond. That's a lot of money, as you said. But basically, if I look at the 2,000 jobs they're going to bring in, they're going to average at least $80,000 a year, and probably more, because they're looking at professionals. They're looking at IT professionals, they're looking at engineers. And I looked at what income tax stream we could expect from the state to get that. I looked at the avoidance of paying unemployment for the jobs that are created. Say that there's a 2,000 jobs created, there's probably 1,000 or so jobs that are professional that will be brought into the state, engineers, IT professionals, those type of things. But there's 1,000 jobs that we'll create in South Carolina. So we're going to avoid unemployment compensation for 1,000 people. I looked at what the spinoffs, and again, looking at literature, they'll tell you 4 to 8, and I used 8. I said there's about 8,000 jobs that will be created because Boeing is expanding and locating here. I looked at the income tax stream that would bring into the state. When I add all these things up, I looked at a sales tax, and if you take the total revenue from the 2,000 they're hiring and the 8,000 people, and you do a quick bottom line calculation, back in envelopes, what I did all this stuff on, I looked at that calculation. I looked at how much I could expect from sales tax. I took 50% of the gross. I figured they'll pay sales tax on that amount. I took 6% of that as a sales tax for the state, because some counties are more than that. When I added it all up, it would take us about less than 3 years to pay back the $120 million if all that revenue were coming into the state. And that's discounting if Boeing brings suppliers. That's discounting what we would pay on other social costs. So I'm looking at about somewhere between a 20 and a 25% return on the money we're investing. And that's why I supported it, because I looked at how we're going to get the money back. Yeah, we're putting $120 million up, but we would actually pay that off in 3 years if we choose to do that. I don't think we'll do that, because I think what we'll do is we'll prorate the bond over the 15 years. And so we'll take that revenue stream into the general fund, but I don't see it as adding debt. Some of the people in the Senate were saying you're adding $120 million in debt. You are on a very temporary basis, but you can retire that debt as quickly as you really want to over a 3-year period of time, or you can retire it over 15 years. So I tried to do a financial analysis of exactly what that would mean, and I was involved in some of the negotiations, so I had more information than you had, so I could do these type of things. But I looked at it as, again, what kind of return do we get for investing our money? And if we can get over 20 or 25% on the dollars we invest, you being a banker, you would say if we get 20%, we'd always
take 20% all day long.
All day long.
And Senator Campbell, that I think is our biggest selling point. But I guess what I would suggest is, or what I would have liked to have seen, is a tally sheet for the public to look, because that's a selling tool for us to say, look, this is the return on our capital investment. This is what we're doing. This is the dollars that the taxpayers are paying. Here's all the incentives. Let's just list them on paper. Any good economic development director puts, when he addresses the city council or county council, they put exactly what the dollars are going to, what job tax credits, what infrastructure investments, and they tally it up. And that's what I would have liked to have seen for us to study, because I would love to be a proponent of this,
Yeah.
and to say, look, this is a good investment, and believe me, if it's a 10% return on your investment, I would be for it, and I can sell that to the public.
Absolutely.
But the way it went down, it was so quick, the details weren't ironed out. I think if I would love to see what they're paying for the property. I'd love to see what, just get the details and let the public see, because they will be our biggest.
I think when you see the details and when they see the details, you'll say this was a good investment for South Carolina. It's just like when BMW came here, what, 93 or wherever that was. They came with the commitment of 1,000 employees, I believe, and now they're up over 7,000. In addition to the 7,000 and the local jobs they create, which is at least 4 to 1 in the community. I think there's 40 some odd direct suppliers of Boeing that are located in South Carolina, industries, businesses that make parts and pieces for Boeing, and there's another 20 or some odd that are indirect that supply those people. So we've got 60 different companies, because BMW's here in South Carolina, that now not only supply BMW, but they supply Volkswagen in Tennessee, they supply Nissan in Tennessee, they supply Mercedes in Alabama. So we're putting jobs here, and if Boeing does the same thing and brings their suppliers, it's even going to be a better investment. And I like the fact that this will give Boeing a chance to be completely independent. In other words, they're going to have an engineering staff here to support the manufacturing and probably do other engineering and projects. They're going to have IT staff here that will do the local work plus other work for Boeing on an international basis. So what we're doing is we're creating a South Carolina Boeing that's independent of what goes on in Washington State. If I were Washington State, I'd be a little concerned about that. But at the same time, what Boeing will tell you is when they came here, they were told that the workforce may not be capable of making airplanes. And they found that our workforce is the most productive in the business, that our people have learned quickly. The reason that somebody said they had a layoff, they didn't have a layoff, they got rid of some contract employees. And they got rid of the contract employees because the competency of the workforce was such that they didn't need those employees anymore. Now they're going to be hiring more, so maybe some of those contract employees have a chance to come back. But we've proven that South Carolinians, with the work ethic that they've got and with the skills that they can develop, can manufacture airplanes with anybody in the world. And you and I both know that because we live here and work here.
Sure. So let me ask both of you, there are folks that have made comments the state shouldn't be given incentives, that it's picking winners and losers. Do y'all, but what's your take on that argument? And then been some groups in South Carolina that have complained about the policy of giving incentives. But without being an advocate, I'm just asking y'all, I mean, isn't the reality of the world that you're in competition and you have to put packages together to get these big deals?
If you don't have incentives, the people that choose sites for these large companies won't even consider you. Again, that's maybe the loss leader, if you wanted to look at it that way in some extent. It's not a loss leader because once you get them here, you get something back for those incentives. But you've got to be on the map, you've got to be in the game, you've got to be competitive, again, with Georgia, with North Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Virginia. You've got to be competitive in the Southeast, but you've got to be competitive international. Because Boeing can put an airplane site anywhere.
Does it take incentives to be competitive?
I think, in a utopian world where nobody had incentives, it would be a great world to live in, but it's not a great world that we live in. It is a competitive world. It's a real world, not a utopian world. And I think you have to be competitive, just like any other business. You got to be competitive with your incentives to attract the interest so that you get the jobs.
Representative?
Yeah, and I agree, Senator Paul. I think we're in the great position to say no to a lot of companies that we don't want. As example, Mack Truck had a plant in Winsboro that went under. Boeing is not that. You compete for the ones the good ones that will stand the test of time. And I think we go after the ones we want. I think we say no to the ones we don't want. Incentives are good as long as it's measured and that we're driving as hard a bargain as we can to make sure our return, as Senator Campbell mentioned, is the 25%, and that we're not going to be left. And we're getting every dollar that we put in, we're getting 2 to 1 back.
And Ralph and I we're both on boards of banks, and so we look at it from a financial standpoint. And incentives have to prove their worth to the state from a financial standpoint, and that's really what it's all about. What do you get for your money? None of us want to buy something that we can't get back or something for our money, and so that's what we look at. We both look at it from a financial angle.
Well, I look at it from the standpoint that 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Absolutely.
And so if it's a good business deal, why not? Let me ask both of you in the remaining broadcast time we got. Let's go to Boeing. Is Boeing more than the game changer? Is it the life changer for South Carolina?
In my opinion, when Boeing announced they were coming here 4 or 5 years ago, and they're successful, that told the world that South Carolina was open for business. It did more than just bring those jobs from Boeing here. It told the world that come here, South Carolina can accommodate you. South Carolina has a workforce, can make your product for you. They can make you successful. They got a government and a General Assembly and an executive branch that will support what you're trying to do. They got agencies such as DHEC that will work with you to make sure you do it responsibly and prudently, but yet they'll work with you to make sure that things go well. I think Boeing did so much more than just bring the jobs here. They told the world we were open for business and we can take your business and we can make you successful.
Representative?
I agree, and I think, you know, when you look at the tire companies here, we're the #1 tire
Absolutely.
manufacturer in the world. Continental, Michelin, you'll have others, you'll have spin-offs. And, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats. Some people had said, well, you don't want it because of Charleston. No, Charleston benefits this entire state, as Spartanburg with BMW has benefited us. So yes, I think time will tell, but I think it will be. It's a game changer as far as the businesses it will bring. And so I hope to have others like it. We're a jewel in the crown of, or can be as the time goes forward.
And if you look at what the suppliers from BMW, I think they're located in 30 different counties. So it's not a Greenville-Spartanburg operation. It's a statewide operation. 30 different counties have companies that work with or supply to BMW. So, and I think Boeing will be much the same thing. Boeing will end up with suppliers located up and down the interstate so they can get those type of things. It's important now on Boeing too because Airbus is going into Alabama. And I would like for us to be on the front end of bringing the suppliers so that we can supply Boeing, and at the same time those people will have an opportunity to expand their business if Airbus goes into Alabama, much like the BMW suppliers can now work with other automotive companies throughout the Southeast.
Well, I think both of you have touched on it, like BMW and the tire companies and now Boeing. Isn't that the opportunity, almost like spokes of prosperity, to get out into some of the rural areas? Because if the supply chain comes here, it has a chance to affect 20 to 30 counties across South Carolina. I mean, just the potential at least is there.
The potential's there, and I tell you, I think it gives us a great opportunity. As both of y'all know, roads is the time bomb that we've got in this state. I think that if there's ever a time to examine the funding for our road system, our infrastructure needs, and I think we could sell it to the next company, the next Boeing that comes to South Carolina. We're going to get our roads in order. I don't know too many big companies that are existing on a dirt road. And I'd like to see the real emphasis now put on secondary roads, 26. We can list them on the ones that really can make a difference. But that's the good part about a Boeing and the other companies here. Let's get emphasis on these roads because we want more of them.
And in addition to what you're saying on Boeing and those people, the Ports Authority. They touch all 46 counties, but again, we need the road, the infrastructure, so that they can move freight in and out of the port. So we've got to do something on our infrastructure in South Carolina. That's super important. Our roads are a mess. Our interstates are in reasonably good shape. Our secondary roads are fair to middling. You know, they're not in really great shape. We've got to do something on infrastructure. As we grow these jobs, as more people are settling in South Carolina, just in this last census, we picked up another congressional seat in Washington. So we're growing the state on population, and that's putting more load on our infrastructure. So we do need, as Representative Norman said, we really need to be looking at infrastructure as our next step in the economic development
Well, one
process.
of the challenges that comes out of some of these economic developments that I've seen is that the state has to put some money into training workers, because our goal's got to be to have workers who are qualified and educated to be able to step up to these jobs and these opportunities that we're bringing in. And I know the track record of the General Assembly has been to fund those sort of things. They don't get a lot of attention in the news. They're not the flashy story. But nevertheless, they're the one that, to the viewers out there, can change their lives and give them an opportunity.
Ready SC is a terrific asset for the state on preparing people to go into a Boeing or any other type of a business. But not the state tech system. I mean, we got 16 technical colleges in the state that are among the best, if not the best system in the United States. They can relearn skills. If someone is displaced or technology changes, they can take that person and make them competent in new skills. And so we need to take advantage of that. We've got a really good asset in our state tech system in Ready SC, and we need to continue to make that better, because the 21st century skills levels that employees need are going to be even more demanding than what we have in today, the present needs today.
Glenn, I'll just add to that what I think, the same thing as you've done with the Department of Aging. You've brought groups together to find out what you need. I think we've got a perfect opportunity to bring the Boeings, the Continentals, the Michelins of the world, the BMWs, and say, what from this day forward can our tech schools provide you to help the spin-off companies that will help you, and then us direct the educational needs for the tech colleges, because like Senator Campbell says, they are one of our greatest assets, and workforce is, companies can't operate without people. And so that's the advantage we've got, and I think that's our impetus is get groups together and ask them what we need and let the tech schools provide it.
And you know what you've said, it may be a very excellent strategy for how to get the supply chain.
Absolutely.
I mean, what he's talking about.
Absolutely.
What is it you need? What are you looking for in this state?
Yes.
And let us see if we can provide it. Yeah. And if tech schools say they can't, let's say why not? What's it going to take? And if it's funding, I'm all for that. Because I don't think it's a shotgun approach today. I think the companies that we need, the training that we need for our people, that's a great opportunity to have that only comes around every so often.
Yeah. And our workforce in South Carolina, the work ethic is absolutely super. I mean, if we give our folks, the citizens in the state, an opportunity, they will make companies successful. But with some of those people, we got to develop the skills with. But they will work hard. They will go on their own time. They will pick up these skills, and they will make these companies successful. But and as Representative Norman says, that we will invest in the tech system to make them better at what they do. I'll add that down thing.
All right. Apparently you caught somebody's attention. And
I thought I had it turned off. I got it on vibrate.
Well, and we've just got about a minute left in the broadcast. Very quickly to both of you, then, I'm hearing from your comments that the General Assembly is going to be receptive to what they consider to be positive packages with incentives. There's not a strong movement up here to close the door on incentives.
No, and I tell you, Senator McConnell, I want that hardware store on Main Street. I want that retailer to say, when they look at that, this is a good thing for me. For the incentives that it took, they negotiated in our best interest. It's a win-win for all of us, and that's what I'm aiming for, because I think it's a plus for the state as a whole.
And the other thing that I think is super important is the small businesses. We want to continue to see those things. As Representative Norman says, the hardware stores, the local contractors, the local restaurants even, the hotels, the hospitality group. All these companies that we bring in are going to continue to grow small businesses and small jobs. And that's important because so many employees go through the small business chain first. And we need to continue to do those type of things.
Well, your message about lifting people up in South Carolina is real great, and that will bring money to the Main Street of South Carolina. And with that, unfortunately, we can't bring any more time to this broadcast, so we have to wind it up. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back this week in the State House with additional topics.
Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the South Carolina Farm Bureau, online at scfb.org, and by the Columbia Metropolitan Airport, online at columbiaairport.com, and by Time Warner Cable, online at timewarnercable.com.